Have you ever caught yourself opening your phone without even thinking, only to realize you've been scrolling for 30 minutes? Do you feel frustrated when you can't stop checking apps, even when you promised yourself just 5 minutes? Have you noticed how much of your day slips away into endless feeds, leaving you wondering where your time and energy went? These questions reveal a struggle almost everyone faces in the digital age, the scrolling habit. It's subtle, powerful, and deeply ingrained. Scrolling is no longer a conscious choice. It has become an automatic reflex, a modern version of fidgeting. The good news is that habits can be broken and reshaped. You don't have to stay stuck in the cycle of endless scrolling. With simple daily steps, you can reduce your screen time, reclaim your focus, and rediscover the richness of life beyond the glow of a screen. To understand how to break the scrolling habit, we first need to understand why it exists. Scrolling is addictive because it taps into one of the most ancient systems in the brain, the search for novelty. Human beings are hardwired to pay attention to new information. Thousands of years ago, noticing something unusual in the environment could mean survival. Today, that same wiring is hijacked by algorithms designed to serve you an infinite feed of novelty. Each swipe delivers something slightly different. A funny video, a shocking headline, a beautiful image. This unpredictability triggers dopamine, the neurotransmitter that fuels motivation and pleasure. The brain gets hooked on the possibility of the next exciting discovery, much like pulling the lever on a slot machine. This is why scrolling feels so effortless. It's designed to bypass conscious decision-making and lure you into hours of passive consumption. But what makes it more damaging is the opportunity cost. While scrolling, you're not creating, connecting deeply, or experiencing life directly. Hours spent scrolling are hours stolen from your goals, relationships, and inner peace. Breaking this habit, then, is not just about discipline. It's about reclaiming your time and attention for what truly matters. The first step to reducing screen time is awareness. You can't change what you don't measure. Most smartphones now provide screen time reports that show how many hours you spend on different apps. Many people are shocked when they see the numbers. What felt like a little bit often adds up to 3, 4, or even 6 hours a day. This awareness is not about guilt, it's about clarity. Once you see where your time goes, you can begin to take control. One powerful technique is to set intentional limits. Instead of relying on willpower, use the built-in tools on your phone to restrict time on certain apps. For example, you might allow yourself 30 minutes of social media per day. When the limit hits, the app locks, forcing you to make a conscious choice. Do I really want to spend more time here, or is my day better spent elsewhere? At first, you may feel resistance, even frustration. That's normal. It's your brain adjusting to a new rhythm. Over time, the craving subsides, and you regain control. Another simple step is to create friction. The easier something is, the more likely you are to do it. Scrolling is addictive, partly because it's effortless. A single tap opens a feed. By adding friction, you interrupt the automatic reflex. Move your most distracting apps off your home screen. Log out so that you need to enter your password to access them. Some people even delete the apps entirely and use the browser version, which is slower and less convenient. These small obstacles force you to pause and ask, do I really want to do this right now? That pause is powerful. It gives you the chance to choose differently. Replacing scrolling with intentional habits is the next step. You can't simply eliminate a behavior without replacing it. The brain craves something to fill the gap. Identify when you usually scroll. Is it in the morning before getting out of bed? During lunch breaks? Before falling asleep? Then create alternative habits for those moments. In the morning, replace scrolling with stretching or journaling. At lunch, read a few pages of a book or take a short walk. At night, practice gratitude or listen to calming music. The key is to give your brain a satisfying alternative so it doesn't automatically return to the scrolling cycle. Mindfulness plays a central role in breaking the habit. Scrolling is unconscious, which means you often don't even realize you're doing it until minutes have passed. Practicing mindfulness, simply noticing your thoughts and actions, brings scrolling into awareness. You might begin to notice the urge to pick up your phone when you feel bored, stressed, or lonely. Instead of reacting automatically, pause and breathe. Ask yourself, what am I really looking for? Connection, relief, entertainment. Often the urge to scroll is a signal of an unmet need. By identifying the need, you can address it more directly. Environment design is another powerful tool. If your phone is always in your hand or pocket, scrolling will always be tempting. Create no-phone zones in your life. For example, leave your phone in another room during meals or conversations. Keep it off your nightstand so you're not tempted to scroll before sleep or first thing in the morning. Buy an alarm clock and charge your phone outside the bedroom. These boundaries reduce temptation and allow you to be fully present in your environment. Breaking the scroll habit also requires shifting your relationship with boredom. For many people, scrolling is a way to avoid silence. Standing in line, sitting on the bus, waiting for food, we reach for our phones instantly. But boredom is not something to escape. It's a gateway to creativity and reflection. Studies show that when the brain has nothing to do, it activates the default mode network, which generates insights, memories, and ideas. Some of your best thoughts can arise when you let your mind wander. By resisting the urge to fill every empty moment with scrolling, you invite space for imagination and clarity. Accountability can accelerate change. Share your goal of reducing screen time with a friend or family member. Join digital detox groups online where people encourage one another to stay mindful. Some people even set collective challenges like screen-free Sundays or social media fasts. Having a community reinforces your commitment and reminds you that you're not alone in this struggle. Millions of people are trying to break free from the same cycle. Let's not ignore the emotional side. Scrolling often numbs uncomfortable feelings. When you're anxious, sad, or overwhelmed, diving into an endless feed feels like relief. But this relief is temporary and shallow. The emotions remain unaddressed beneath the surface. Learning healthier ways to cope with emotions through journaling, talking with someone you trust, exercising, or simply resting provides more lasting comfort than hours of distraction. Breaking the scroll habit means facing your feelings rather than avoiding them. It's not always easy, but it's deeply rewarding. The benefits of reducing screen time are profound. People who cut back often report sleeping better, feeling calmer, and enjoying richer relationships. They notice an increase in focus and productivity. Their creativity blossoms because their minds are no longer saturated with noise. They feel more present, more alive, more connected to the world around them. Imagine walking outside and noticing the sky, the trees, the faces of people, instead of keeping your eyes glued to a screen. Imagine conversations where you truly listen without the urge to check your phone. Imagine evenings spent doing something nourishing, reading, cooking, creating, instead of scrolling endlessly. This is what's waiting on the other side of the habit. Of course, breaking the scroll habit doesn't mean rejecting technology entirely. Phones and apps are tools, and they can be powerful when used intentionally. The goal is not to eliminate them, but to reclaim control. Instead of being a passive consumer, you become an active user. Instead of your attention being dictated by algorithms, you choose where it goes. This shift transforms your relationship with technology from one of dependence to one of empowerment. Remember, the journey is gradual. Habits don't vanish overnight. There will be times you slip back into scrolling. That's normal. The key is not perfection, but persistence. Each time you notice and redirect yourself, you're strengthening new neural pathways. Over weeks and months, the habit weakens, and your brain adjusts to a new normal. You'll find yourself scrolling less, not because you're forcing it, but because you genuinely prefer other activities. Breaking the scroll habit is ultimately about reclaiming your life. Time is the most precious resource you have, and once it's gone, it cannot be recovered. Hours lost to scrolling are hours you could have spent creating, connecting, learning, or simply enjoying life. By reducing screen time, you're not depriving yourself. You're giving yourself back the gift of presence, creativity, and peace. So ask yourself, how much of your life do you want to spend scrolling? And how much do you want to spend living? The choice is yours, and it begins with simple daily steps. Start today and watch as the habit unravels, leaving behind a clearer, calmer, and more intentional you. Breaking the scroll habit is not simply about putting your phone down. It's about understanding the layers of psychology, habit loops, and emotional triggers that keep you tied to the endless feed. Once you see the mechanics clearly, you can begin to dismantle them and rebuild healthier routines that align with the life you want to live. In part 1, we explored the roots of scrolling addiction and some first steps to reduce it. Now, in part 2, let's go deeper into practical strategies, mindset shifts, and real-life examples of how people are successfully breaking free. To begin, let's revisit the concept of the cue routine reward loop. Every habit has these 3 components. The cue is what triggers the behavior. The routine is the behavior itself, in this case, scrolling. The reward is the feeling that reinforces it, such as amusement, distraction, or a sense of connection. Breaking a habit doesn't mean eliminating the loop. It means disrupting or replacing it. For scrolling, that might mean identifying the cues, boredom, stress, or loneliness, and substituting a different routine that provides a similar reward. Instead of scrolling when you're bored, you could journal, stretch, or play a quick game that engages your mind. The key is to notice the moment of impulse and have a prepared alternative. A practical way to do this is through what psychologists call implementation intentions. This means setting clear if-then rules for yourself. For example, if I feel bored and want to scroll, then I will step outside for a 5-minute walk. Or if I pick up my phone before bed, then I will instead read 1 page of a book. These if-then statements sound simple, but they're powerful because they pre-program your response before the moment of temptation hits. Over time, they create new automatic routines that replace scrolling with healthier behaviors. Another important strategy is managing triggers in your environment. Consider how often scrolling begins with a tiny cue, a buzz, a notification, a flashing icon. These cues are engineered to grab your attention. By reducing or eliminating them, you drastically reduce the number of times your brain is pulled toward the habit. Turn off non-essential notifications. Move distracting apps into folders on the last page of your phone. Even better, delete them entirely if you don't need them daily. Some people choose to use grayscale mode, which removes color and makes the screen less enticing. The less stimulating your phone looks and feels, the easier it becomes to resist. Timing also matters. Studies show that willpower is highest in the morning and weakest at night. That's why late-night scrolling is such a common struggle. To counter this, create a digital sunset, a time each evening when devices are put away. Replace scrolling with a wind-down ritual, reading, journaling, or preparing for the next day. By protecting your evenings, you also improve sleep quality, which strengthens focus and discipline for the next day. It's a reinforcing cycle. Less scrolling leads to better rest, which leads to more energy and control, which makes it easier to scroll less. Let's not forget the role of identity in habit change. One of the most powerful insights from behavioral science is that true transformation happens when you shift your identity, not just your behavior. Instead of saying, "I'm trying to use my phone less," start saying, "I'm the kind of person who values presence over scrolling." This subtle shift changes the way you see yourself. Each small victory reinforces the identity, and soon, the habit aligns naturally with who you believe you are. Ask yourself, who do I want to be? A passive consumer of endless feeds or an active creator of my own life? The answer to that question fuels your motivation. Breaking the scroll habit also requires addressing the emotional layer. Many people scroll not just because it's entertaining, but because it soothes emotions. Stressful day at work? Scroll to distract. Feeling lonely? Scroll to see what others are doing. Feeling anxious? Scroll to numb the discomfort. The problem is, scrolling only masks the feeling temporarily. It doesn't resolve it. To truly break free, you must learn to sit with your emotions. This is where mindfulness becomes a powerful tool. Mindfulness doesn't eliminate discomfort. It teaches you to observe it without reacting impulsively. When the urge to scroll arises, take a breath. Notice what you're feeling. Label it. I'm anxious or I'm bored. Then ask, what do I actually need right now? That small pause creates a gap where choice lives. Consider also the role of boredom. In modern culture, boredom is seen as something negative, something to be avoided at all costs. But boredom is essential. It's the seedbed of creativity, imagination, and reflection. Scrolling robs you of boredom, filling every empty moment with noise. By embracing boredom, you reawaken your brain's natural capacity to wander, connect ideas, and generate insights. Some of history's greatest inventions and works of art were born in boredom. When you resist scrolling and let yourself be bored, you're not wasting time. You're cultivating a mental space where brilliance can emerge. There's also value in experimentation. Different strategies work for different people, so think of breaking the scroll habit as a series of experiments. Try a one-day social media fast. Notice how you feel. Try replacing your evening scrolling with a creative hobby, drawing, writing, cooking, and see what changes. Try tracking your mood before and after scrolling, and compare it with your mood before and after offline activities. When you gather data about your own experience, you begin to see clearly what serves you and what drains you. That awareness makes it easier to choose. One particularly effective experiment is the 24-hour digital detox. Choose one day a week, perhaps Sunday, to go offline. No social media, no feeds, no aimless scrolling. At first you may feel restless or uneasy, that's withdrawal, but soon you'll notice something else, a deep calm, a richness of time, and a return of presence. Meals feel slower, conversations feel deeper, nature feels more alive. Many people who try this report it as life-changing. The detox doesn't just reduce scrolling for one day. It recalibrates your relationship with technology for the rest of the week. Let's look at the social side of scrolling. Platforms are built to exploit your need for connection. They give you the illusion of being connected while keeping you isolated. Breaking the scroll habit often means replacing shallow connections with deeper ones. Call a friend instead of liking their post. Meet someone for coffee instead of scrolling through their updates. Write a handwritten note. Join a local group or spend time with family. Real connection satisfies the need that scrolling only pretends to meet. And the richness of real connection makes the lure of the feed weaker. For some people, accountability is the missing ingredient. Share your goal publicly. Tell friends you're cutting back on scrolling, or post about your digital detox challenge. Invite others to join. When others know what you're aiming for, you feel more committed to follow through. Some people even form accountability groups where members check in daily about their screen time and encourage each other. The sense of shared mission makes the process lighter and more sustainable. Another practical step is intentional content curation. If you're going to scroll, at least make your feed work for you. Unfollow accounts that drain your energy or trigger comparison. Follow only those that inspire, educate, or uplift you. This doesn't eliminate the habit, but it shifts the quality of your screen time. Over time, you may find you crave the feed less because the cycle of negative comparison and emotional highs and lows is gone. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Fear of missing out, or FOMO. One of the biggest reasons people struggle to reduce scrolling is the fear that they'll miss something important, a trend, a piece of news, or a friend's update. But here's the truth. Most of what you miss is irrelevant. The digital world moves so fast that what feels urgent today is forgotten tomorrow. Meanwhile, what truly matters, your growth, your relationships, your inner peace, is happening offline. Reframing FOMO as JOMO, the joy of missing out, helps shift the mindset. Missing out on noise is not a loss, it's a gain. You gain clarity, focus, and time for the things that truly matter. Breaking the scroll habit is not about living a dull, disconnected life. It's about reclaiming agency. Technology is a tool, and tools are meant to serve you, not enslave you. When you break free from compulsive scrolling, you don't reject technology, you elevate it. You use it intentionally to learn, to connect meaningfully, to create. You move from being a passive consumer to an active participant in your own life. That shift is transformative. As you reflect on your own scrolling habits, ask yourself, what is scrolling taking from me? Is it stealing hours of sleep? Is it weakening my relationships? Is it dulling my creativity? Then ask, what could I gain by reducing it? More time to pursue passions? More presence with loved ones? More energy and peace? The answers will guide your motivation. The journey is not linear. Some days you'll succeed, other days you'll slip. That's normal. The key is persistence. Every time you notice and correct yourself, you're rewiring your brain. Over time, the new pathways strengthen and the old ones fade. One day you'll realize scrolling no longer has the same pull. You'll open your phone, feel the impulse, and then effortlessly choose something else. That is the moment of freedom. Ultimately, breaking the scroll habit is about living deliberately. It's about reclaiming the hours that slip through your fingers and investing them in what truly matters. It's about stepping off the endless treadmill of digital distraction and stepping into a life of presence, creativity, and depth. The tools are simple: awareness, substitution, environment design, mindfulness, community, and emotional resilience. But their impact is profound. So take the first step today. Notice your scrolling triggers. Add friction. Replace the habit with something intentional. Experiment, reflect, and keep going. Over time, you'll not only reduce screen time, you'll rediscover the richness of life waiting beyond the scroll. And once you taste that richness, you'll never want to go back. The habit of scrolling can feel so small, so harmless, that most people don't even realize how much of their life it consumes until they pause and measure it. That endless thumb swipe on a glowing screen is designed to feel effortless, but what it steals is not small. It takes minutes, hours, and eventually whole seasons of your life. Part of breaking the scroll habit is recognizing this truth. Scrolling is not neutral. It shapes your attention, your mood, your relationships, and even your identity. And the power to change it lies not in waiting for the apps to become less addictive, but in reclaiming control of your own mind. If this resonates with you, I want to encourage you right now. Subscribe to Think Fresh Daily, hit the like button, and share this video with others who might be ready to take back their time and focus. Together, we can create a culture that values presence over distraction. One of the first shifts to make in this journey is to realize that scrolling is rarely about the content itself. Most of what you see in an endless feed is forgotten within minutes. What scrolling provides is a state, temporary stimulation, distraction from boredom, escape from uncomfortable feelings. When you recognize this, you can begin to ask, what am I actually seeking when I reach for my phone? Is it relief from stress? Is it a desire for connection? Is it simply the habit of filling silence? Once you see the need behind the behavior, you can address it more directly, in ways that actually satisfy rather than just numb. For instance, if you scroll because you feel lonely, the deeper need is connection. But a feed of curated posts often deepens loneliness through comparison. A better replacement might be calling a friend, writing a message, or even having a conversation with someone nearby. If you scroll because you're stressed, the need is release. But feeds rarely relax the mind, they overstimulate it. A healthier alternative might be stretching, walking, or journaling. By replacing scrolling with actions that truly meet your needs, you begin to untangle the grip it has on you. Breaking the scroll habit also requires you to challenge the belief that you'll miss something important if you step away. This is the classic fear of missing out, FOMO. Social media thrives on it, feeding the illusion that life happens elsewhere, that others are always doing something better, and that you must stay plugged in to keep up. But the reality is that most of what you miss is trivial. Trends vanish, headlines fade, posts get buried. What truly matters, the relationships you nurture, the skills you build, the moments you experience, happens in the real world. Reframing FOMO into JOMO, the joy of missing out, is a powerful shift. Instead of fearing absence, you start celebrating it as a choice to be fully present where life is actually happening. Let's talk about the physical and mental costs of scrolling. Hours hunched over a phone strain your eyes, tighten your neck, and erode your posture. But the deeper cost is psychological. Endless feeds are engineered to keep you in a cycle of dopamine spikes and crashes. Each new post offers a micro hit of novelty, but like sugar, it never satisfies. It leaves you craving more. This cycle leaves your brain restless, unable to sustain deep focus. Over time, it fragments your attention span. Many people notice that after heavy scrolling sessions, they find it harder to read, concentrate, or even enjoy silence. Breaking the habit is therefore not just about saving time, it's about healing your brain from a constant diet of shallow stimulation. The solution lies in practicing what I call attention training. Just like you would train a muscle at the gym, you can train your attention to grow stronger. Set aside intentional blocks of time where you practice being fully absorbed in one task: writing, reading, cooking, or even having a conversation. At first, your mind may wander quickly, craving the quick fix of scrolling. That's normal. But each time you resist and return to the task, you're building endurance. Over weeks and months, you'll notice your capacity for focus increasing. What once felt impossible, 30 minutes of uninterrupted reading, for example, becomes natural. This is the rewiring of the brain in action. It's also vital to recognize how scrolling impacts your emotional health. Constant exposure to highlight reels of other people's lives fuels comparison and inadequacy. Even when you logically know that social media is curated, your brain processes the images as reality. This can create a subtle but persistent dissatisfaction with your own life. Reducing screen time breaks this cycle. As you step back, you begin to see your own life more clearly, without the distortions of constant comparison. Gratitude and contentment grow naturally in the absence of endless social measurement. Replacing scrolling with intentional rituals is one of the most powerful ways to create lasting change. For example, start your mornings without a phone. Instead of beginning the day with a flood of notifications, begin with stillness, stretching, journaling, or simply breathing. This anchors your mind before the world's noise arrives. Likewise, create an evening ritual that is screen-free. Let your brain wind down with reading, reflection, or quiet conversation instead of scrolling in bed. These rituals don't just reduce screen time, they give shape to your day, grounding it in presence and calm. Accountability can be the difference between intention and transformation. Share your journey with others. Tell a friend you're working to cut back on scrolling. Join communities that support digital detox. You might even set shared goals, like phone-free dinners or screen-free weekends. When others know what you're aiming for, they can encourage you and hold you accountable. And by sharing openly, you might inspire someone else to begin their own journey. Breaking habits is easier when it's not just a personal battle, but a collective movement. Another mindset shift is to view time as sacred. Every moment you spend scrolling is a moment you can't get back. Imagine looking back a year from now. Will you remember the hours lost to endless feeds? Or will you remember the projects you started, the books you read, the people you connected with? When you frame time as your most precious resource, scrolling begins to look less like harmless entertainment and more like theft. This realization fuels the discipline needed to set boundaries. Boundaries are essential. Without them, screens will always creep back into every corner of life. Create clear rules for yourself. For example, no phones at the table, no screens in the bedroom, no social media during work hours. At first, these may feel restrictive, but soon they feel liberating. Boundaries protect your attention, your relationships, and your peace of mind. They remind you that you are in control of your technology, not the other way around. As you break the scroll habit, you may also rediscover something beautiful, the richness of boredom. Those small gaps in the day that scrolling once filled, waiting in line, sitting in silence, riding the bus, become fertile ground for creativity and reflection. Instead of filling every gap with digital noise, you allow your mind to wander. Ideas emerge, memories resurface, insights form. Boredom, far from being wasted time, becomes one of your greatest allies. Over time, reducing scrolling creates a cascade of benefits. You sleep better because you're not overstimulated at night. You feel calmer because your nervous system is not on constant alert from notifications. Your focus sharpens because your brain is no longer fragmented. Your relationships deepen because you're more present. And perhaps most importantly, you regain a sense of authorship over your life. Instead of drifting on an endless feed, you begin writing your own story. All of this points back to the central truth. Breaking the scroll habit is not just about less screen time. It's about more life. More time, more presence, more creativity, more joy. Each time you put down your phone and choose something else, you're saying yes to what truly matters. That yes is the foundation of a more intentional, fulfilling life. So, as we close this part of the journey, I want to challenge you. Choose one daily step today to reduce your scrolling. Maybe it's moving your apps off the home screen. Maybe it's leaving your phone outside the bedroom. Maybe it's creating a phone-free hour in the evening. Whatever it is, commit to it. Small steps compound into massive change. And don't forget, you don't have to do this alone. Join us here at Think Fresh Daily by subscribing to the channel. Like this video if it's spoken to you, and share it with someone you know who could benefit from breaking free of the scroll cycle. Together we can create a community that chooses presence over distraction, focus over fragmentation, and life over the endless feed. The choice is yours, and the time to start is now.